Hey, so was Australia just part of a war?
No politic here.
So, on February 28th of this year, the US and Israel launched military strikes on Iran, directly against international law and norms, which is very cool. You might have heard about it. This was, of course, like all US wars, launched under a fragile excuse of nuclear weapons.
If this regime or its despotic neighbor Iraq were to acquire nuclear weapons.
Thanks, Netanyahu from 30 fucking years ago. You might remember that one of their opening strikes decimated a children's primary school, killing upwards of 160 children and educators. Though the dumbest people you know are still trying to figure out how to pin that one on Iran, as if they started the war. As expected, Iran began retaliating by attacking states all across the Gulf. One that copped the heaviest punishment outside of Israel was the United Arab Emirates, the closest Arab ally of the US and Israel in the Gulf, and a beacon of global liberal human rights. Just under 2 weeks into the war, Australia dispatched the E-7A Wedgetail to defend the UAE from Iranian attacks. The Wedgetail is an early warning command and control aircraft capable of radar detection of incoming threats. It's commonly called a spy plane. Given its title as a spy plane, the biggest criticism of its deployment was that it was purely a defensive capability, especially given the capability of information that it's able to collect about potential Iranian-based launch sites, potentially providing targeting information for offensive belligerents like the US and Israel with its 400-kilometer radius. To put that 400-kilometer radius into perspective, this is what it looks like on a map if it was flying in Dubai. Australia also provided the UAE with air-to-air missiles as well. The government, of course, defended the deployment as solely to assist the UAE in defending its territory from those terrorist Iranian drones and missiles that are attacking for no reason. Well, as it so happens, while Australia was engaged in defending UAE territory at their request, the UAE was directly engaged as a belligerent in the war on Iran. A recent article by the Wall Street Journal reported that throughout the conflict, the UAE was engaging in military strikes in Iran, which is whatever on its own. The most important part here, though, is that Australia was directly engaged in supporting the UAE in its belligerency. We actively defended the territory of a party attacking Iran. So did we just fight in a war? Well, the short answer is no, not technically. The long answer is, yeah, kind of. We've not declared war or directly fired a shot, and the Australian government insists we were only engaged in collective self-defense of the region, but the distinctions between support and participation is quite thin. First, there's no way that Australia was unaware of the UAE's belligerency in this conflict, either by direct advice from the UAE or the intelligence gathered through the Wedgetail, which again can see all of this. We certainly knew more than we let on, yet operations in support of the UAE continued anyway, and likely are still continuing to this day. That, at worst, looks like we were providing targeting information for the UAE inside of Iran, and at best, actively contributing to defending the assets that could attack Iran. This changes our role from just some altruistic collective self-defense of the region to defense of an active combatant. And as if we weren't already doing that for the US, engaged in protecting their military infrastructure, such as the aircraft and airstrips that could be used in continuing the bombing that would be valid targets for Iran. And now in Senate estimates, thanks to the work of people like David Shoebridge, we're starting to see the greater distance in what the government was doing and what they were telling us. Australia wasn't just engaged on behalf of the UAE, but the broader region, including providing intelligence access across the board, particularly launch sites. This pushes us even further beyond just self-defense. If this is correct, and I have no reason to believe it wasn't, this is the Senate estimates hearing, then Australia potentially engaged in providing targeting information within Iran to the belligerents of the war. That pretty definitively makes our Wedgetail and the Australians operating it a valid military target in pursuit of the UAE, just like any other American radar that has been attacked. And to add insult to injury, we also have military personnel aboard US submarines and under the command of US submariners actively engaged in the conflict, including having participated in at least one war crime, the sinking of a reportedly unarmed ship and leaving the sailors to drown. While they weren't our submarines, and likely never will be, thanks AUKUS, the Australians were nonetheless involved in war by their existence on a belligerent vessel, and all for a worse and worse submarine deal, but that's a different video. So yeah, we kinda did just participate in a war. Although not officially declared, we were actively present in the defensive and likely offensive capabilities of belligerents in that war, making us belligerent. If I was to imagine some hypothetical world where our wedgetail is targeted and destroyed, or our personnel sunk on the submarine, I know the government and your Pauline Hansons and the Liberal Party would be up in arms about how this is some kind of unprovoked attack, aggression, terrorism, blah blah blah, insert word. But I don't really see how that argument holds water. I guess it doesn't matter anyway. International law is dead and truth doesn't matter.
Hey, thanks for watching. Help me make things better with a like, subscribe, and comment. It really helps. Cheers.